Are you an angry white male? If so, the University of Kansas has a course dedicated to studying you. It's not math, it's not science, it's not history. Nope. Your money, your tuition dollars will go to a course studying angry white males. Also, another state has jumped in on the push to do away with the electoral college, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her fellow freshman millennials are being told to fall in line by the Democrat leadership. All that plus your comments. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
Okay, so we have a lot to cover Oh, wait. Shazam!
Whoa. Okay. All right, that's better. I feel better now. More like myself. All right, folks. That was our little tribute to Shazam. Family's going to see it tonight, and my son and I just wanted to have a little bit of fun. But let's jump into the news. We got a lot to cover. And first, we're going to talk about angry white males, because apparently the University of Kansas thinks that that's such a problem that they needed to develop a class to study this scourge on society. So let's take a look. Campus Reform dug into what this class is all about, and here's their report. All right, the University of Kansas is offering a course on angry white men and the role of dominant and subordinate masculinities as they connect to the rights-based movements of women, people of color, homosexuals, and trans individuals. Angry White Male Studies, which is being offered during the fall of 2019 semester, will explore the deeper sources of this emotional state while evaluating recent manifestations of male anger in Europe and America from 1950 to present, according to the course description. The course is cross-listed under both the Humanities Department and the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Department at KU, and is an option to satisfy a humanities course requirement. All right, friends, this is a real class. It satisfies course requirements. I mean, this is for credit. I mean, it seems so outrageous, and yet this is just a pattern that's going on in universities across the country, to blame the white guy, to push diversity for the sake of diversity. And what's interesting is that during the course of this report, Campus Reform also mentioned a related study, a related story that just kind of shows how all of this goes together. And this one involves Harvard Medical School and how they're trying to purge the whiteness from their former administrators. Now, if you remember, anyone that's gone to college or even in a corporate world, you go into the big building and they might have pictures of, the former CEOs across the time, or department heads if it's in, a particular department at a university. Well, those pictures of department heads at Harvard Medical School are just too plain white. And here's their story on that. The Harvard University Medical School has removed portraits of former department chairs from the lecture hall because the individuals pictured are not sufficiently diverse. School officials confirmed that the portraits of 31 medical school deans, which formerly hung in the school's Bernstein Family Amphitheater, have been dispersed to various lobbies and conference rooms. All 31 individuals depicted in the portraits are men, and while one is Chinese, the other 30 are also white. And Campus Reform added this little part too, which I just think is great. Dr. Betsy Nabel, Harvard Medical School Hospital president, told the Boston Globe that the portraits do not reflect the diversity of students at the medical school, and suggested that so many portraits of white males may make medical students uncomfortable. Oh my gosh. So the fact that the former deans, all these people were distinguished people, they wouldn't get to that position. But now, just because of the color of their skin, they have to be hidden away, and we have to pretend that history never existed. And as far as the class that's going to go on at the University of Kansas, are you kidding me? Angry white males? Who comes out of these, these courses and people that take these, courses for any particular degree? How do they contribute to society? Mike Rowe, who did the Ford commercials and always talks about how not everyone needs to go to college because there's various high demand for trades and skills like that. And in my opinion, you show me a carpenter, a pipe fitter, welder, or, steel worker or mechanic, and I'll show you someone who contributes to society. what are these people going to do? I mean, they're going to just become protesters or something? It's just nuts. So, all right. So think about that one over the weekend. We're going to move on to the states. The bunch of left-wing states are trying, and we've talked about this before, do away with the Electoral College, okay? And they formed this coalition, and here is what's going on. This is the Daily Caller is reporting that New Mexico has now, in their legislature, passed legislation to, again, join this coalition, which means that no matter what New Mexico does as far as the vote for president, their electoral votes will go to the winner of the popular vote. And here's the Daily Caller's report. New Mexico Democratic Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham signed legislation Wednesday officially joining a group of states agreeing to elect the president by popular vote. By formally adding HB 55 to the governor's list of signed legislation, Grisham confirmed that New Mexico is the 14th state, the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. The measure passed through both chambers of the New Mexico legislature with no Republican votes, according to the state's website. So what is this NPVIC? Here is some background information on what it means and how close they're actually getting. The NPVIC is an agreement between states to pool their electoral votes together for the candidate who wins the state's aggregated popular vote. States will award their electoral votes regardless of the individual state voting results. States that have passed similar legislation to join the NPVIC now represent 189 electoral votes. The compact will become official when that number hits 270, enough votes to elect the President of the United States. So can you imagine this? The founders wanted states to take the lead. The federal government is subservient to the states. The Constitution spells that out. So can you imagine being in a swing state where your state goes for a certain person for president, say Donald Trump, but Hillary Clinton wins the popular vote, and that state now votes for her. Donald Trump won the popular vote in 30 states to Clinton's 20. That's how it's supposed to be. You do need to win the popular vote, state by state by state. Now, they're going to hold swing states hostage to the will of California and some other big states, and it makes absolutely no sense, yet they're continuing to push it. Now, another issue that's going on is you see this with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and these freshman millennials that are coming in just to, wreak havoc on everything. Well, the Democrat leadership is not very happy about it. And the DCCC, which is a Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee, has issued a memo that says, hey, watch what you're doing. We're going to support incumbents. We don't want any of these insurgent campaigns trying to take out our people. And here's a report from the Washington Times that talks about what the DCCC is doing. Insurgent campaigns, such as those of Ayanna Pressley and Ocasio-Cortez, were major storylines last year, and liberal activists were already drawing up lists of incumbent Democrats whom they want to oust in 2020. Looking to head off those efforts, the DCCC announced its new rules last month. The committee said its chief goal is to defend Democrats' power in the House, and that means supporting incumbents. Doing business with operatives in some races while trying to unseat incumbent Democrats in other races is counterproductive, the DCC said. So that's a message straight to AOC and some of these others who are talking about bringing up lists and monitoring if people aren't sufficiently, far left wing. And it hasn't sat well with a lot of members of the Democrats. One in particular is another representative from New York, AOC's state, who says, basically to bring it on if she wants to challenge him. This is Max Rose, and here's what he had to say on a recent show called Metro Focus, talking about AOC. But Rose went on to slam Ocasio-Cortez following a story that she's compiling a list of Democrats that will face a primary challenge from progressive Democrats for siding with Republicans in the House on an amendment to notify the federal agency, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, whenever an illegal immigrant attempts to buy a firearm. She's going to keep a list, Rose said, looking somewhat annoyed. This is very simple because I'm not one to deal in subtleties. I think it's best not to be passive aggressive. If she wants to primary me, if the Justice Democrats want to primary me, I'll lay out the red carpet. We can settle this at the polls. Justice Democrats is a group that helped recruit AOC, and they're looking to others to take out Democrats that they don't think are sufficiently left-wing. And he says, bring it on. And it's gold for us as Republicans that this is coming, or conservatives, that this is coming right now as we head to the 2020 election, because any infighting among the Democrats, anything that helps publicly drive their candidates farther to the left, is going to turn off the center, going to turn off independents, and hopefully will actually help rally conservatives. So it's a very good, issue for us that this is going on right now. And we'll just have to watch and see what AOC and her team does to drive people farther and farther to the left. Okay, so now, because it's Friday, I want to dive into some of your letters, because you guys have been so great with the comments. I mean, we get so many, and they're so good, and I try and jump in there and respond to a lot of them, and I'll try and do better. There's a lot, and I really appreciate that. But let's go over some of the feedback. First, it deals with Beto O'Rourke and him speaking his native Spanish. And we covered this. He's fourth generation Irish. He's a leprechaun, basically. And yet they want to push the media, push this narrative that he's somehow Hispanic. So here's a couple of comments. This is from Edward Nelson. Beto is native Hispanic like Elizabeth Warren is Native American. And this one from Cynthia Grooms. This is Beto. Hola, tacos are magically delicious. And I like that one for a couple reasons. One, because of the laughing faces. If you laugh at your own jokes, as friends say that I do, I can appreciate that. And magically delicious takes us back to Lucky Charms. I don't even know if they run that commercial anymore, but that was really good. All right, so now it's AOC and her comments on the Green New Deal and FDR running for re-election after he's already dead. This is from Butch Jones. Bobby, I honestly look forward to listening to AOC. It makes me feel like a genius, plus it's great comedy. Jeff Pace added, being a Democrat, it may be so natural for her that the dead can still vote that she just assumes that they can run for re-election as well. All right, so those were great, but there's mixed opinion on even covering AOC. And here's a good one. Becky writes, if we stop talking about her and giving her a platform to squawk on, she will fade into the night. You guys are creating a monster. Okay, Enki35 Production says, she doesn't even deserve attention, all right? So that's one side of it. Another side is this. Trump increased the ratings of CNN and MSNBC, and AOC is doing the same thing for conservatives. She's giving a lot of content to conservative shows like yours, which is absolutely great. People are absolutely obsessed with this nitwit, so they come for a laugh, and then they get exposed to rational, logical, conservative message. That's kind of where I fall in. I think she's ridiculous, but I also have seen how Obama had brought in people that I thought were very, very intelligent during his first campaign to think that he's reasonable and they might actually support him. So my job is to point out just how ridiculous she is. And I take personal pleasure when people try to act, smarter than they really are to fool people. And so we need to point this out. I think it's funny, and I don't want people to fall for it. So that's why we're covering it. So there's been a lot of good comments too about just the show, and my family doesn't want to read me to read too much of those because they say I'll get a big head. So I'll cover a couple of the others. This guy, Hugh Chardon, said, remove the shuttle model. That's also fake news. What is it with the shuttle model? I don't get it. We launched numerous missions. I don't know if these guys think it's fake or they just have something against that model, but I love it. It's going to stay. And then this guy, Corrupt Soulless, writes, Introduction to Applied Mathematics, this book over there. Pfft. Does that mean you don't have the finished version? Unfortunately, I have the introduction, the final, everything in the middle. Basically had every math class that has been invented. So, but you can go ahead and make fun of the books. But anyway, folks, it's just interesting comments out there, and I appreciate all the nice ones. There's been some really good ones, and we're going to just keep doing this every now and then, dive into your comments. But have a great weekend. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-minute news hour.